everyone. Good evening and welcome to my live session of the content, the characters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata epic tale, and our psychology. Yes, thank you so much. Here, all of you are currently listening me. I'm live right now on YouTube channel, and I'm feeling so much fascinated when I'm sharing my all research points and all my important points to you, because I feel that if I am going to share with you my very important research, and if I'm going to share with you my very important informative informations to you, it may help you in your life, that wherever you are facing any kind of an issue, or wherever you feel that you are stuck in somewhere, my sessions can help you a lot. So here I'm going to start one of the great epic tale which almost everyone knows about it, the Mahabharata. Why Mahabharata happened, what happens to the battlefield of the Mahabharata, and why I am telling here about the characters of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So first of all, I would like to invite all my live people there. Those are listening me, and also I'm going to I'm feeling very glad and thankful to those people who will going to listen me very soon in my on my YouTube channel. So first of all, I start with one of the very interesting story with you. So actually, a few years back, if I'm talking about the mental health, if I'm talking about the situations and the scenarios which I was facing in my life, was totally different. Happens is many times there was no ways for me. There was like a confusion and doubtful state for me, where I found myself helpless, because I don't need any support from the outside world, but something goes not well inside within me. Something is not going well. Something I feel that it is not in a synchronization. So gradually, I thought that I should start something about myself. I should start something about to know who am I actually, and why am I actually. Because I was facing through my rough patch of my life, and as every one of us in our life facing that issue, because every one of us is facing rough patch in their life, tough scenarios in their life. Maybe we are getting a very tough people, we are getting a very tough scenarios as well, and that makes us thinking about ourselves, who we are, why we are here, why we are in this situations currently. So before 5 years, I was talking about, I was quite a little bit upset with my family, because I was thinking something, and actually I was expecting something from the others. The actually I was finding out the happiness in someone, but gradually, with my research, with my conversations with myself, I found that happiness never lies within anyone. I'm actually finding in the outside world. I'm expecting my relationship should be on a right track. I'm expecting that people should treat me in a way I am actually looking forward, but it is not so, and that makes me unhappy. Then after suddenly, after a few days of my conversations with myself, after conversations and having a lots of books which I read on those my rough patch, I found that everything lies within me. I mean, it is nothing outside world. Actually, even I'm wrong if I'm expecting something to the outside world. If I'm even expecting something to my relationships, even if I'm expecting something from the situations and the circumstances which are not correct in my life, so I may make myself fool. But yes, I was making myself fool, because everything is lies within me. If I wanted to be happy, by any means I can be happy. If I wanted to accomplish something, I can accomplish something by doing so many things. So I gradually started changes my thought process. And as you all know that my most of the content, most of the informations are based on the mental health. Most of the content also I used to talk here on YouTube, on Facebook Live, or in on Instagram Live. I'm always talking about the thought processes which are there in our head. Because I have been through that rough patch. I found that actually nothing there outside world which we are finding. We always find everything in others. We always find something in others, and then we feel that if something has happened to us, and if this results will come into our favor, into my favor, then I am happy. But I can be happy without that also. I found that I can be happy without anyone also, without anything also. Because happiness is not something a property of anyone, neither in happiness is something lies on outside world, on any relationships, or on any financial status, neither on any kind of material world, neither it is dependent on anything, but it is all about the thought processes, how we perceive the informations from the outside world within us is deciding factor whether you wanted to be happy or unhappy. So let's start with the important topic which I'm going to discuss with you here: the characters of the Mahabharata. As everyone knows that I have written already my one of the book, journaling, writing therapy. It was just a little beginning of my writing, and I found that I can help people a lot of by through if I go through scriptures. I personally like scriptures, and I personally like to read them, research on them, because they last long in our society, they last long in our religious way, in a different formation. And it has been proved by many of the people that it is worthwhile to read, follow, and not only follow, but also you have to admire those scriptures, because those scriptures were telling you about actually your life. It was those scriptures actually giving us a truthfulness about ourselves. It gives us a base. It gives us a positivity, and it gives us a lots of important clear path of our life where we need to see. Every one of us is living in this world, and we wanted to accomplish something. Like someone has a goal to become a great mother, someone has a goal to become a successful businessman, someone has a growth to be a great student, someone wants to become a doctor, engineer, or someone wants to live their whole life for the society. So we all are have a defined goals in our world. We all are having so many other stuffs in our world that we wanted to define ourselves through that particular role. Now what happens is, as soon as we are putting ourselves in that role, we try to feel like we are that role only. Say for example, we are watching one of the movie, right, and that is some thrilling, and the movie is all about paranormal activities. And due to some audio and visual effects, we found that even though we are sitting in our drawing room, we are sitting in a comfortable position with our loved ones, with our family, even though we find that the fearful and dreadful thought processes and our goosebumps are there on our we feel on our body. So that happens is why it has happened to us, even though we know the reality. We know the reality that we are just watching a movie. But as our psychology, as our thought processes are generating a lot of chemicals, and we generate so many chemicals that immediately our body is reacting according to that senses. And exactly that has happened in the Mahabharata. So now I actually write my second book. It is about second book is about the personal freedom. Psychology in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to launch and publish that book in the September month of 2021. And that book is basically I researched on each and every characters of the Mahabharata. Each and every characters I've been through that, and I found that we actually have all the characters within us. We sometimes become Dhritarashtra, sometimes we become Sanjaya, sometimes we become Pandava, sometimes we become Kaurava, sometimes we become Shri Krishna, sometimes we become Bhishma, sometimes we become Kunti, sometimes we become Draupadi. So, if we have all the characters, then how come we are neutral in this world? How we feel the neutrality between the sadness and the happiness? Happens is our emotional imbalances are such that if something happens good to us, we suddenly feel so much good, happy, enthusiastic, inspired, motivated, and wanted to do something about the life. The zest of the life is something, yeah, I wanted to do that. But as soon as we feel some fall, and we are just, from this level to this level, what happens is we feel our unhappiness is, like imbalancing. And we feel like suddenly a sadness. We feel like depressive. We feel like anger. We feel like irritated. We feel like what's going on in my life? Nothing works better. That is their problem. My luck is not so good. I'm not so good at my work. We have a lot of self-sabotaging thought process going on in our life, in our mind. And ultimately we become a slave of those thought processes. So now as we leave all the characters, what happens is we never be a neutral. We never, having the neutrality between every circumstances and situations. As in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it is very well said by the Sri Krishna, the God Sri Krishna, whatever happen, whatever is happening, and whatever will happen, everything is happen for the good. Means in any situations, if it is a bad or if it is a good, situations are always good, and it is always in a favor of a person. Now you are saying that I have just faced my divorce. I just lose my financial control. I just lose a job. Don't you understand that? And you are saying that all this happens is good. Yes, I'm still telling you, even though you are into the worst situations, even though I'm saying that you are into the most dreadful situation and fearful situations of your life, even though those situations and circumstances are blessings for you. Why? Because in every painful situation, we find ourselves. Every painful and dreadful and fearful situations, every negative situations, we find our reality, our relations between this body and the soul. Because unless you are happy, you never think about yourself. You never think about your prayers. You never think, or even you are never counting your blessings. You are been blessed by this Mother Earth, this cosmic universe. So I'm here to tell you something about the important characters of our life. Dhritarashtra. See, the first shlok taught us so many things. The first shlok of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Dhritarashtra was asking the questions to Sanjay. Sanjay, who was having the powers, who can see the the long distance, who can see the battlefield of the Mahabharata, and who narrated what has happened and how the battlefield has happened and how the Pandavas and Kauravas fought between them and who won. Now the trust was asking to those people who don't know or those people are new to the Mahabharata. I tell them that the trust was the blind man. He was not having an eyes, and that fellow is not only a blind but was having a blind mind also. Why I'm saying that? Blind man does not mean that a person can't only see the things so that a person cannot have a desires. It does not mean that if you don't have eyes means you can't have greediness. That does not mean that you can't have a negativity. That does not mean that you can't live in fear or dreadful situations. Even though you don't have eyes, you have negative thought process, you have so many doubtful and also confusing states in your life. Now that fellow was a blind, and hence his senses. Why I'm saying him as a blind mind? Because Dhritarashtra was living the whole of his life in the situations where he was being ruled by his overruling senses. Now, which are the senses? So we have five senses, as we all know. Senses are of eyes, ears, nose, mouth, mouth through which we speak, and of course the skin through which we can feel the touch. So now he was actually living his in senses. He believed that the person who lives in the senses, he's having a living in the lower body chakras, and happens is that he always wanted to satisfy his senses all the time by any means, be it the mean is good, be it mean is not good, be it a mean is a good or evil, does not matter to that person. Only the senses, the comfort zone of the senses only matters to him, and that's why Dhritarashtra was not only a blind man but was having a blind mind. Do we have exactly the same blind mind? Yes, we have. How? Now, say for example, you have some project in your hand. You wanted to really accomplish that project, and simultaneously, your one of the senses is telling you, "Yeah, I'm today too much tired, and so much. I have done so much for the day, and I really wanted to have a rest. My body needs a rest." And you listen the voice of your body. You listen the voice of that small thought, which ruled on the thought of your accomplishment of your project. At that time, what would you do? You just postpone that project for another few hours because you wanted to take some good sleep. I'm not saying that you should not rest. I'm not saying that you are always, into the work and motion condition only. But if you know that that project is giving you a good paychecks, you know that that project is giving you appreciations, that gives you a one step ahead a position in your job, and you can get that client through that project only. So at that time, you really just can go through that project and can finish that, and you can definitely rest maybe in weekends. But at that time, that small thought, that's a correlation between the positive and negativity starts from here. Because as we are postponing that project, we are going to sleep. If you take a call to sleep that time, the project is going to be postponed. And as soon as the deadline comes, you feel irritated, you feel fearful, you feel that I have to finish the project. Oh, I could have start earlier. So it may by this time I may complete this, and I may complete in a very fruitful way rather than I have to complete in a hurry. So this is one of the example I have given. Similarly, it happens to every single time in our life. Say, for example, in a financial wealth, you know that your earnings and your means are should be lesser than your earnings. Now, what happens is many people are spending much in their means. They are much spending in their luxuries. Now, what happens when there is a tough time comes? They actually overburdened by their loans. They overburdened by their EMIs, and then they feel irritated, and then they ultimately blame whom? Either to the people, either to family or friends, or maybe ultimately said there is no one. They're finally blaming a god or either their luck. But that is not the right case. The right case is how the battlefield is going on in your head, and what the selection and the decision you took that time, that determine your results. Exactly that is happened to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was asking to Sanjaya that what did they do in the battlefield of the Mahabharata? What did My sons and Pandava's sons. See, there is a discrimination because Dhritarashtra was a blind man, hence he has always a discriminations between him and his brother's son. And he was always into a discriminative nature because he does not want to leave the kingdom, and he just wanted to rule the whole kingdom, even though it is not their kingdom. Even though they can't rule that kingdom, they have snatched away everything from the Pandava. Now happens is when they have snatched, they took a wrong decision. They took everything from the Pandava, and now they are feeling the fearful. So Sanjaya was the impartial introspection here. In introspection, Sanjaya was not having the very exclusive powers. These powers are with every one of us. That's why I'm saying that all the characters of the Mahabharata is within us, and we are living every time those characters, and that's why we are always in balance. So the Sanjaya was having an asking by questions. The mean person, a blind man, a blind mind, asked a question to an impartial introspection that what did he do? What did they do? Means what the senses and the thought process did in the battlefield of the Mahabharata. Have they won? Have they lost? What did they do? Now, Sanjaya was the person who has given the correct informative informations to your actions and communications and the results you are getting out of it. So, the Sanjaya is something your senses and your soul. You are asking a question to your soul. Did I do something great in my world, in terms of my actions to achieve my goals? Have you asked these questions to yourself why you are here in your life? Because you really wanted to think of that life? And if you didn't, then why are you here? Because you thought something, but you act something. You act something and communicated something, and hence you have the results which you are currently. So that's the only reason that you have to ask introspectory questions to yourself every day night by asking yourself in writing a journal what did your senses do today to achieve your goal, how much you are near to your goal, how many steps you have taken which were the productive one, and you could have achieved what you wanted to have in your life. Those questions, those introspectory part can help you a lot to just sharpen your sword of wisdom. The sword of wisdom through which you can eliminate those comfort senses. Those comfort senses when your TV is barking and you really wanted to read one of the productive book. You wanted to really go through some of the online courses which helps you a lot in your business, in your job, in your profession. But second time, your mind makes you confused through this worldly material things, and which is I call Maya, that which delusion, which gives you a delusion, enjoy right now. Later on you can do. But as much as we are postponing the things, we actually keep ourselves away all the times from the goals and the life which we wanted to live. And that's why the people are facing the negative thought process, depression, irritation, fear, lack of self confidence, and self esteem. So I hope that this much of information may help you. I'm definitely going to come with my second session, how to understand your characters, how to understand, eliminate those Kauravas from you, because I'm still not coming to that character of Kaurava and Pandava within you. So it's really nice talking to you, and it's great to have sharing you the informations. And I'm not here to tell you something that you are supposed to subscribe my channel, because I'm here to share with you my good informations and which helps you a lot. And Even though if you have some comments and if you wanted to upload about something about my about your questions or any kind of an issues in your life, you can definitely write me down in my comments. I can definitely get back to you and revert you on your comments. So thank you so much. Great talk and a great information. Have a great life ahead. Stay safe at your place and good night.